kindly admit all. And we have our guest also who is coming. Good morning, sir. A very welcome to all of you who have joined this historical conference from Lyceum Study Group. I welcome to all of you, especially to our guest speaker, Professor Amirullah Khan sir. I am highly thankful. I will begin with, sir, a big thanks and to our worthy Deputy Commissioner Kishtwar for his proactive support and making this webinar successful within a very short time. I'm thanking to all the esteemed officers sitting here from various departments, especially from Health and Education Department, who have physically joined in this conference hall, and most of them are also joining us online. I'm thanking them for their active participation in this conference. I also welcome various students, research scholars, and social activists who are physically who have joined us on online mode as the link have been shared. I first of all welcome our guest speaker, Dr. Amirullah Khan sir. I would like to begin with a brief introduction of his CV. Dr. Amirullah Khan is a former civil servant of 1993 IAS batch. He is a very professional development economist and a professor who worked on development issues primarily in the field of health, education, and agriculture sectors. Dr. Khan has been a senior advocate and former strategy head at the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. He has also served director at the Indian Development Foundation and executive director at Encyclopedia Britannica. Dr. Khan has consulted with World Bank, IMF, USAID, and erstwhile Planning Commission, among other multilateral and government organizations. He has also worked on education and health policy with the Niti Aayog. Professor Khan has also worked for the Ministry of Finance, Government of India, and United Nations Development Project at Project Large, meaning legal adjustments and reforms for globalizing the economy. Professor Khan has also given thought-provoking lectures worldwide, including the famous lecture at the US-India Policy in Washington, D.C., and a very iconic and famous lecture at the Harvard University School of Public Health, among various others. Professor Khan is also founder Vice Chancellor of Global University, Western UP, and I personally consider myself fortunate enough to work under his Vice Chancellorship as the university's first teaching faculty. Sooner, as per the information I have received, I wish all the best for the new assignment to Dr. Amirullah Khan, as he is going to join State Public Service Commission of his state as member. The CV of Dr. Khan is always never ending, which even Wikipedia can't cover fully. So I directly am moving towards Professor Amirullah Khan with gratitude and motion of thanks for accepting our request to deliver lecture on dynamics of health and education sector in India. He will speak on the topic uninterrupted for about 20 minutes, which will be followed by 10 minutes question answer session. Those who have joined us kindly from the Lyceum Study Group official group, kindly mute your mics, and whatever will be the questions, you can also request me on the WhatsApp official group of the Lyceum. So I am again thanking to Dr. Amirullah Khan sir. So kindly begin and over to you, Amirullah Khan sir, please. Thank you, sir. Sir, kindly unmute your mic and sir begin. Sir, are you audible, sir? Sorry for inconvenience. The guest speaker will join again us. Thank you.
Arif, can you hear me?
Sir, yes, sir, we can hear you, sir. Please, we are
अच्छा अच्छा
kindly begin, sir. Please.
well, I heard your very kind introduction. Thank you very much.
Welcome, sir.
Uh,
Sir,
yeah.
can you put
Just,
the video on, sir?
just give me a minute.
Okay, sir. Sure, sir. Sure.
Yeah, Arif, I'm just trying to switch my video on. Just give me 1 minute.
Sure, sir. No issue, sir. Sure, sir. Take your time, sir. Please.
So, can you tell me a little bit, meanwhile, about the people attending the conference today?
Sure, sir. Sure, sir. Sure, sir. Sir, we have this time here all our esteemed and dignified officers physically attending this conference, especially from the Department of Health and Education sector, sir. And sir, we will be soon joined by our Assistant Commissioner Revenue also, as the LG Honorable LG meeting is going on. So even one the Deputy Commissioner sir will join in the meantime. And sir, online I have shared the link and most of the research scholars from Kashmir University, from JNU, from Delhi University, and even some social activists from Mumbai, especially Advocate Rashid Saab, and one PhD scholars from Kashmir, like Zaima Khwaja, social activist. They have joined, sir, and most of them are again joining us again and again. So I would like to give a brief intro of Lyceum, sir. Lyceum is a term for the first time was used by Aristotle in Athens, and it was first philosophical school which paved the way for the Western philosophy. So we in Kishtwar have set up a Lyceum study group whereby we believe that knowledge which we gained through our learning, through our experience, through our discussions, through our debates shall be used for social construction and social progress. Sir, I would like to add this thing that our worthy Deputy Commissioner Kishtwar for last 3 months have worked a lot for accelerating, for progressing in the field of education and health. Sir, we launched a very historic program regarding minimizing the dropout rates out of school children. उनका सर नंबर कम करने के लिए बहुत एक मुहिम चलाई सर एट द डिस्ट्रिक्ट लेवल एंड वी अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह थैंक्स टू अल्लाह के ईश्वर कि हम बहुत प्रोग्रेस कर चुके हैं इसमें सर. So we are also working. Our worthy Deputy Commissioner sir is also focusing on improving the health infrastructure in the Kishtwar, knowing the importance of the fact that sound minds always lies in sound bodies or lives in sound bodies. So this is about Lyceum sir and the proactive approach and proactive role of our young and energetic worthy Deputy Commissioner sir. I am also thankful to our Chief Education Officer who have given full support and have sent Education Department with the kind of participation here. We are also highly thankful to our worthy Chief Medical Officer Kishtwar, that whole medical team in large number are sitting here. So we are highly thankful to all these. We are also thankful here, sir. The media persons from media persons who have joined and covering this event. We are also thanking them, sir. Sir, are you ready, sir? Oh, wait.
Yes, Arif, yes.
Sir.
So now I want to just shift to my other machine because I thought that I will also, there are a few slides that I wanted to show. Let me get that going. But welcome everybody and thank you so much for welcome everybody and thank you so much for just get a group. Can you give me that mic? Thank you. Yeah, so Arif, thank you very much for this, and I'm very thankful to all of you for having gathered here in this group. I have a very strong association with Arif that is old, and I'm really happy that he has put together this this discussion. Arif, my CV that you read out is indeed very important because it is relevant to what you're saying, though you have, made it sound far more, far bigger and far important than it is. Come on, please. Yes, sir. I'm just switching to my other machine, and then we will continue. But thanks everybody. I have been hearing from Arif about the various things that you all have been doing. It is very interesting that you have done all of that and ensured that we do work on the basic issues that are very important for any development of any state. It is, and that is why, especially in a state like Kashmir, where the challenges are far more serious than in other states. So right at the outset, I must congratulate all of you for having done that, and done that so well. And as Arif said, the support that you got from Mr. Yadav has been very instrumental, and the other officers. It is indeed something that is rare, and with contributions and with support from the administration, it is always so much easier. It is also very important that you have set up this group called Lyceum. It's such a nice word and such a nice thing that you have done to continue your efforts with such amount of dedication. I'm really very happy for all of you and for what you've done. So now let me know if you can see me. Can you see me, Arif?
Yes, sir, we can see you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, we can see you.
Yeah.
We can see you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Sir, please unmute your mic, sir. Sir, please unmute your mic, sir, please. Sir, am I audible? Sir, your mic is muted, sir. Kindly unmute your mic, sir. Sir, kindly unmute your mic, sir.
Oh, I'm really sorry. My mic was off.
Yes, sir, please repeat.
And I was speaking for such a long time. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir, crystal and clear. Thank you, sir, please.
Wait a minute. Why can't I hear you?
Sir, we are listening to you, sir.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Naveen?
Sir, yes, now you are audible, sir, please. No, again, there are some issues with regard to, sir, voice. Sir, your microphone. Now you are
Can you
audible.
hear me, Arif?
Yes, sir, we can hear you, sir.
I can't hear you.
Sir, we can hear you. Sir, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. Now I can hear you.
Thank you, sir. Please go ahead.
Sorry. So my question was that, so I said that I will start off by asking all of you one question.
and each one of you can answer that question on your chat window. Do you all have a chat window?
Not all, sir. Some of them might be having, not all.
Some of you have. So the question to those of you who have access to a chat window is that there are two important issues: health and education. My question to all of you is, which is more important, health or education? The answer you can't give is both. Rahat, both you can't give. You can't even say none of the above. So think about it, all of you, that what is it? Which one is more important, education or health? And this entire discussion that I'm going to do with you today is based on this question, which is in terms of development indicators, in terms of growth, what is more important, health or education? Because everybody agrees, all of you certainly agree that health and education are most important. Both of them are very important. Without health and education, no state, no country can grow. Okay. So one of the first questions that we ask in our economic policy classes is that what is it that the state should provide? And everybody agrees from Amartya Sen onwards that the two things that the state should provide, the two essential public goods, are health and education. Everything else can be, given off to the private sector, can be availed in various other forms. But health and education are pure public goods, that everybody should have access to health and education, and health and education should be provided by the state. That is something you will find across the world, whether it is China, US, Germany, Cuba, Thailand, everywhere you will see that health and education are provided by the state. The responsibility of providing health and education is with you. So all of you in this room are the development agents of your state, of our country, and your responsibility really is to provide whatever it takes for the country to grow, and the two basic things are health and education. I am very happy to see in my chat window that a lot of you are saying health, because typically the answer I get in India is education. So my next question to you is, look at our budgets. What proportion of our GDP for our budget do we allocate to healthcare? And what proportion do we allocate to education? How much do we spend on healthcare? How much do we spend on education? And the stark fact that comes out is that for health, we spend 1% of GDP, and for education, we spend 3% of GDP. And that is where I want to draw your attention. Why are we as a country so worried about education, which is a good thing? But why are we so not bothered about healthcare, which is not a good thing? Everywhere else in the world, you will find that countries spend much more money on healthcare than on education. The US spends 18% of its GDP on healthcare, 12% on education. China spends 6% on healthcare, 4% on education. Bangladesh spends 4% on healthcare and 2% on education. India does exactly the opposite. 1% on health, 3% on education. It is almost as if we want very unwell graduates. Right? And see what is the impact of that. The impact of that is that we have a workforce that is the youngest in the world. You all have heard about the demographic dividend. The demographic dividend says that India is the youngest country in the world. So we have a very young workforce. But it is very unhealthy. If you are working in any manufacturing sector, if you are working in any factory, go and ask the factory owner, what is your biggest problem? The biggest problem, earlier it used to be, we don't have electricity, we don't have road. Now we have all of that. Now if you ask them, what is your big problem? They say, sir, the workers don't come. Absenteeism is a big problem. Labor productivity is very low. Why is total factor productivity in India the lowest in the world? 3 times lower than China. And then one of the major reasons is that we have a very large level of absenteeism. Suddenly, nobody turns up to office. In an assembly line, you can understand that if people don't turn up, then the productivity just falls. And why don't they come? In almost all cases, it is because they are unwell. Why do we have the lowest life expectancy in the world? 69, among the developed countries, among the slightly better countries, India has the lowest life expectancy, 69. Jammu and Kashmir does much better than that. My first congratulations to all of you is that life expectancy, which is a measure of healthcare, is about the highest in Jammu and Kashmir, 74. So all of you in this call, you will live 5 years more than I will live. Right? Because I am in a state that has a life expectancy of 69. You are there in a state that has 74. If I was in Chhattisgarh, I would have died by now because life expectancy is 56. So, one thing that Jammu and Kashmir has done, and you can be proud of that fact, that if you look at the health indicators, your state has done better than most other states. It is not as good as Kerala or Tamil Nadu, but it is very good. And that is a certain indicator of various facilities and various works that the administration has done. And you are all continuing that. Your job now is to ensure that it becomes even better and becomes like the developed countries in the world, not like the underdeveloped countries. In the developing countries, Jammu and Kashmir is among the best. But in the developed countries, it is among the lowest. So that's the next level that you have to go. So that's my first point, that health indicators are very important for any economy. When a population is healthy, then that population can become wealthy. Growth will happen only when healthcare is taken care of. Now, does that mean that education is not important? Not at all. Education is very, very critical. Once your children are healthy, once they have proper nutrition, then they can sit in class and learn. If they are suffering from malnutrition, if they are unhealthy, then they will not follow anything that is happening in class. Try going and sitting in a meeting. If you haven't eaten for 2 days, already meetings are boring, right? You are sitting and listening to my lecture. And imagine if you are sitting in my lecture and you hadn't eaten in the last 2 days. Why will you even bother about what I'm saying? Or why will you even understand what I'm saying? So, a nutritious diet, a healthy child, is what is most important for making an economy grow. All right. So that is the first initial point that I want to make. And what have I said so far? I have said that health is critical. In India, unfortunately, we always keep health secondary to education. And that is why we are seeing greater enrollments in schools. The access to healthcare has been very poor. And we saw that during COVID. Look at what happened during COVID. Thousands of people waiting for hospital beds, dying on the footpath, not getting medical attention, not even getting drugs. We saw that. Hundreds of people walking home, thousands of kilometers, because they had no access to food, clothing, shelter, and hospital. So that is the first point. And therefore, I am very happy when Arif tells me about the initiatives you are taking, all of you, on ensuring that access to healthcare is of high quality in your state. The second point I am making is the point on education. Now, what is the issue on education? Education has several layers associated with it. The first layer obviously is enrollment. Rahat, yes, learning outcomes are important, but before that is enrollment. Is every child going to school? Now, on that, again, I must congratulate you that enrollment levels are close to 100% now. There are very few children in the 6 to 14 age group who are not in school. So that is a big achievement. That's a big achievement across the country. And 25 years ago, 50% of our children never went to school. my state of Telangana, 102% are enrolled in school. In your state, 97% are enrolled in school. Which means, why is it 102% in Telangana? It is because some children get enrolled in 2 schools and 3 schools. That is why it is 102. Otherwise, it should be 100. So almost every child in India is going and enrolling in school. So the problem is not enrollment anymore. It used to be a big problem earlier. The problem really is another indicator that we measure, which is called mean years of schooling. When you do the Human Development Index and calculate how we are doing on human development, you calculate what is known as the mean years of schooling. How many years does a child go to school for? Does a child go to stay in school for? That is a huge indicator. And that is what is something that we have to worry about. So you know what India's mean years of schooling is? How many years does a child in India stay in school for on an average? Let me ask you another. How many years should a child be in school? 5, 6, 20, 18, 17. Right? Think of the answer. And the answer for India is 6.7 years. That means that an average Indian child does not even go to school for 7 years. This is the Indian average. And that is the major reason why we rank 132 on the Human Development Index. We might be the 5th largest economy in the world and will soon become the 3rd largest economy. But our average child goes to school for 7 years. The expected, there are 2 measures for all of you who understand indices. There are 2 measures. One is the expected years of schooling. What do we expect? How many years do we expect a child to be in school for? The expected years of schooling in India is 11.9, 12. That is what we expect. But actually the answer is, the number of years that they spend is 7 years. So that is why, that is the first challenge that we have. The first challenge we have is how do we keep our children in school? How do we ensure that they stay in school for at least 12 years, if not 15? Rahat is right. He wants children to go to school for 15 years, which is a very good thing. But and that is what we want people to do. But that is why we are struggling, because a lot of our children are not able to stay in school for more than 7 years. Between 7 and 12 is where most of our children stay. Which means, what does this mean? This means that while every child is going and enrolling in school, very few children are graduating from high school. And of that small number that is graduating from high school, an even smaller number is going to college. Now, why is college important? Why should a go to college? The simple reason is that in the modern economy, we have most jobs are in the service sector. And because most jobs are in the service sector, we need people to have some skills, and they will learn skills when they go to college. A concerning feature about your state is that gross enrollment ratio in college is very poor, less than 20%. But what is even worse is that this number is dropping. less number of children are going to university. That is a serious issue. If you take a look at India, the gross enrollment ratio in college is very poor. The only state that does well is Tamil Nadu at 43%. But if you take UP, Bihar, etc., they are all less than 18%. And Assam has some 7% gross enrollment. It means that less than 7 people in 100 are getting into college. Among Muslims, it is even more serious issue because what the recent government figure shows is that the number of women in Muslims in college is actually dropping. It's the only community whose number of children in university in college is dropping. So it is a serious issue. The reason it is serious is because it is very closely associated with employment. Jobs are available only for those who have graduated from college or university. And if they are not going to college or university, how will they participate in the service economy? That is the big issue as far as education is concerned. So, what am I saying? I just want to tell you in this talk, I just want to tell you two things. And that is that one, healthcare is important. Access to healthcare is important. Access to healthcare is critical, not just because everybody deserves to be healthy, but also because as a country we need healthier people, an economy, and I'm speaking purely as an economist. An economy can only grow when it has healthy people, because unhealthy people cannot work. That is the straightforward issue. Right? So that is the first point that I'm making on healthcare. On education, the point I'm making, because I'm not talking of other things. The other things you are all very familiar with. You know that very well. The only point I want to make on education is that the mean years of schooling has to increase. That unless we have more and more people in college, our unemployment will continue to be very high. And as you know, as most of you know very well, that India's unemployment levels are today among the highest in our history. We've never had unemployment of the level that we are having today. Now, to end my talk with you, what I just want to do is show you two slides. And that is, I want to show you this slide first. Can you see this slide? Are you able to see a slide, Arif?
Yes, sir.
Yeah? Now, what am I showing to you here? I am very sorry that, I don't have the J&K numbers here because we didn't get them. But J&K will not be, and I'll tell you a little bit about this. What is this graph telling you? What is this graph is telling you is that look at the red line. The red line is showing that income inequality in India is, contrary to expectations, not very high. In India, income inequality is high in Maharashtra and Tamil Nadu. Why? Because those are rich states. In poor states, everybody is equally poor, and therefore inequality is very low, Assam and Bihar. So income inequality, everybody is talking about, but that is not our biggest problem. Our big problems are, see that green line. That green line is healthcare. What it is telling you is that in Kerala, 10% people have no access to healthcare. But in Madhya Pradesh, 50% people have no access to healthcare. In Chhattisgarh, 45% have no access to healthcare. across the country, more than 40% of people do not have access to it. That is an inequality that is very serious. I suspect that the number in Jammu and Kashmir will not be as high as Chhattisgarh and Madhya Pradesh, but it will still be very high. It will still be between 25 to 30%. But the big tragedy is the blue line. What this line is telling you is that in India, we don't provide access to healthcare to nearly 1/3 of the population. But we don't provide education to nearly 50% of our population. Good quality education is not available beyond higher secondary to nearly 50% of our population. Our inequality is not because we have different salaries. Our inequality is because our children have different access to healthcare and education. And that is the big tragedy of India. That is what I want to, that is the big point I want to make to you today. Right? That is one. The other point at which I want to end is that how do we tackle poverty? And there, the last slide I want to show you is this one. Now, here is the good news. This is the Niti Aayog figures, the recent figures that we have. Poverty is very high in Bihar, very high in UP, very high in Madhya Pradesh. But you know what? It is pretty low in Jammu and Kashmir. Now, it is lower than in Karnataka, it is lower than Maharashtra, it is lower than Andhra Pradesh, lower than Gujarat, much lower than Gujarat. The only states that are doing better than Jammu and Kashmir are, Punjab and Kerala and Goa. And this number, while 15% is still high, but it is among the lowest in the country. This is Niti Aayog figures from 7-8 years ago. We don't have the new figures. But I want to leave you with this question. That why is it that all of you have done better than the rest of the country in life expectancy? And why are you doing better than the rest of the country in fighting poverty? Those are the two questions that I want to leave you with. They are important questions. They are questions that will guide economic policy in your state and in the country. My simple submission there is that I think that poverty in Jammu and Kashmir is low, largely because of the fact that there are very few people who are homeless in the state. There is a strong correlation between homelessness and poverty. And the political point that one often makes is that Jammu and Kashmir poverty levels went down because of Article 370. It ensured that people had property and kept it with them. But why is it that Jammu and Kashmir has better life expectancy? That is a interesting question. Is it because healthcare is more available? Because life expectancy is simply a function of access to healthcare, better available in the state than in other states, or is it some other factor? But while India's life expectancy is 69, Jammu and Kashmir's life expectancy is 74. It's a big five-year difference. That cannot be simple coincidence. I don't know the answer to this question, and I want all of you to think about it. Is child labor a big issue, Isha? Not anymore. The numbers have dropped significantly. Yes, children do work, but nowadays mostly work at home, looking after younger siblings and so on. but you don't see too many child labor in manufacturing sectors or in hazardous industry. That has come down drastically. Unpaid work, yes. Dropping out, girls dropping out of school because they have to look after younger siblings. Yes, that is an issue. And yes, I think that that land issue is a significant issue because Kashmir doesn't have industry, it doesn't have too much tourism, it doesn't as much as it could get. It doesn't have a very large service sector. Agriculture is okay, but despite which the poverty level is low, and that only explanation I can provide is because most people in Kashmir have some physical asset, which is not true for the rest of the country. In the rest of the country, 51% of rural population is landless. And landlessness and homelessness is the single largest contributor to poverty, apart from poor healthcare. So, to end, the point that I wanted to summarize is that the job that all of you are doing is the most significant contribution to the growth of the state and the country. The country now will only grow if our population becomes better educated and becomes healthier. There is no third issue, just these two issues. Access to healthcare, which I showed you in that graph, is very poor in most parts of the country, and access to higher education, which is also very poor. These two things have to improve. And that is why the responsibility lies among all of you. With very meager resources, with 1% GDP on health and 3% on education, you have to still manage to reach out to each and every child. Thank you very much for listening to me. And I must also apologize that I'm giving you questions to think about, not many answers. But think of these questions. You're all people who are on the field, you're watching, you're seeing. Some of you have spent more than 10 years, some of you have seen things very closely. So look at what is this issue. Why is it that we still have differential access? And how is it that we can surmount these challenges? But congratulations on being part of a very important group in our country, a very important state in our country, and for ensuring that the progress that you are making is very significant. And its significance also comes from the fact that those of us who are academics want to study what is happening in Jammu and Kashmir closely so that it can be used in the other part of the world. All right, so Nitin has raised his hand. Nitin, you can ask your question, and if there is anybody else, please go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot for your kind lecture. The forum is open for question answer session. So, if first I would like to give chance those who are physically sitting here, then I will go to those who are with us online. So I would like to say any question from the persons who are sitting here. They can come, students can come to this here towards the camera and they can ask questions. And till the student come, sir, I think Nitin Kumar Tiwari is kindly unmute your mic and you have a question. Nitin, kindly unmute.
Good afternoon, sir. Sir, my question is like, sir, in our health problem, that our health problem is very much is in height. So I want to know that, sir, the problem is that, like, suppose if we empower medical store as a first aid, like we create a such infrastructure that a lot of people who have a problem, they can go to the medical store and they have some power, they can treat them, and for a serious disease, they can go for the hospital. So it can create some solution for that.
Absolutely. I think you have said it very well. That in any system where the health financing is a serious issue, we have to find various ways. What you are saying is one good solution. There are other solutions also. That can we look at a good health insurance model? Can we look at a good health trust model? Can we pool in our resources? Can we cross subsidize? I think we have to do all of that. And in Ayushman Bharat, we are trying to do that. So that is the only way in which we can, by using multiple solutions, can we reach the target of providing health for all. Yes, Khwaja Zaima.
Sir, we have one. We will take question from physical audience. Then we
Sure.
will switch over to Khwaja Zaima. We have one student here, please.
Thank you, sir, for giving me this opportunity. My name is Abu Wajid. I am from GDC Kishtwar. Sir, my question is to you. We all know that India is a very large nation, means it's a good country. And यहाँ पर जो है आपने कहा था कि education and health भी they both are same. But should the government invest more in education और health या government को invest किस पे ज़्यादा करना चाहिए? मेन फोकस उनका किस पे होना चाहिए? एजुकेशन पे होना चाहिए कि हेल्थ सेक्टर? क्योंकि दे बोथ आर सेम. बिकॉज विदाउट एजुकेशन वी आर नॉट एबल टू हैव अ नॉर्मल लाइफ. एंड हेल्थ भी वही सेम है, बिकॉज जब एक ह्यूमन बीइंग की उनका माइंड जो है ठीक ना होगा, वो मेंटली ठीक नहीं होगी, तो वो कैसे एजुकेशन ले सकते हैं? तो गवर्नमेंट को, आपके हिसाब से गवर्नमेंट को ज्यादा फोकस किस चीज पे करना चाहिए? सर प्लीज.
बहुत अच्छा और बड़ा आसान सवाल. And here I have a very direct answer. Direct answer ये है कि हमें ज्यादा फोकस हेल्थ केयर पे. पढ़ तो लेते हैं लोग, लेकिन अगर उनकी सेहत खराब हो तो वो क्या पढ़ेंगे? कौन स्कूल जाएगा? So the answer is very simple. इसका मतलब ये हरगिज नहीं है कि एजुकेशन पे हम जोर ना दें. 100% we have to give emphasis on education, but relatively we have to focus on healthcare. That is the big mistake we are making in our country, that we do not give attention to it as much as we should. Yes.
Sir, we have a question from our young doctor Saab, Dr. Arif Saab.
जी आरिफ.
Good afternoon, sir. Sir, thanks for a very enlightening lecture on health and education. It was a pleasure. So, I am Dr. Arif Rashid, working as consultant medicine at the District Hospital, Kishtwar. Sir, I just want your views how a model classroom should look like at primary level, at secondary level, and then how our college classroom should look. Because we are living in an age of smart phones, online, where there can be focus on both health and education. So your views, please. I want your personal views. How our classrooms should look like, how our college classroom should look like, and how our universities should be like.
Good question, and it's an interesting one to answer. लेकिन in my across the world and having taught in various places, एक अच्छा क्लासरूम वो है जहाँ पे लोग खुश नजर आए, जहाँ पे लोग इन्वॉल्व नजर आए, कंफर्टेबल हो. बट people will argue saying कि भाई हमने तो ऐसे स्कूल में पढ़ा जहाँ पे एक बेंच रखा होता था, पंखा नहीं होता था, सर्दी होती थी, पर हम तो अच्छा पढ़िए. So those exceptions are there, and लोगों ने स्ट्रीट लाइट के नीचे पढ़ा. But for the larger population, an ideal classroom is a classroom that is well lit, that has few students, ये नहीं कि 100 students बैठे हो classroom, and that is well connected. So we are looking at really a small, smart classroom where the teacher can pay attention to everybody in class.
Thank you, sir. Sir, we can take question from Zaima Khwaja. She is linked online. She is PhD scholar from Kashmir University. Zaim, I audible, please.
Hello.
जी Zaima, please, yes.
Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Walaikum.
First of all, very thank you for this thought-provoking lecture. It is an immense honor for us to have you. Sir, I am a doctoral fellow here in the University of Kashmir. Sir, as far as our present day scenario is concerned, we have this multi-dimensional poverty index of India that is 62nd out of 107. This is the one aspect. Second is that we want to develop India as a Vishwaguru according to National Education Policy 2020. Right, sir? Sir, as you discussed already that we spend only 1% of our GDP for this Ayushman Bharat. And we spend 3% for our education. So the question is that with this 1% of GDP, how will we be able to develop this Ayushman Bharat, the healthy Bharat, keeping in line with, like, how will we be growing at par with our, as we are growing educationally, keeping in concern, how will we be healthy, how will we be developing as far as our, this, poor concern for this health sector is concerned, sir.
Very good and very, I'm so happy that you asked this. It means that you listened to what I said. So thank you so much. The answer is very simple. We will not grow. If we ignore our health sector, we will simply not grow. We will just get stuck where we are. We will get into a middle income trap. और आप लोग जो डॉक्टरल फेलोज हो और पढ़ने लिखने वाले लोग हो, उनको मैं किताब I will suggest. हमारी बहुत one of the finest health secretaries we had was Dr. Sujata Rao. सुजाता ने एक बहुत अच्छी किताब लिखी है, उसका नाम है डू वी केयर, और उसमें उन्होंने समझाया है कि the system, the healthcare infrastructure we have in the country, why is it such a broken one and what impact does it have on the economy. और हेल्थ केयर का इम्पैक्ट इकोनॉमी पे बहुत गहरा होता है. अगर लोग बीमार हो तो एक तो इंफरादी मसला है, नो पीपल्स इंडिविजुअल प्रॉब्लम दैट they fall ill and they have to spend money and so on. But collectively, as a society, we lose a lot of money and resources if we do not have a healthy population.
Sorry for the interruption. So, what will be the remedies then? With the 1% of GDP and the 3% of this education, how will be you suggesting as an economist, as a social activist, rather as a citizen of India, how will be you suggesting India to develop keeping this health in concern? What will be the measures?
Well, very simply, we have to ensure that we spend more on healthcare. Jahan pe we have spent more on healthcare, like in Kerala and Tamil Nadu, you can see the results. Tamil Nadu is the most industrialized state in India, and one of the big reasons is because it has a healthier population than the rest of the country. So, it's a very simple answer that we have to spend more, at least spend as much as Thailand spends and Bangladesh spends and Philippines spend. I'm not talking of spending like the US and UK. So that's a very simple thing. And here, I should just bring in Rashid Zafar, because he asked similar question that Rashid, one way out is what you suggest, and that is that we integrate health and education. And it is an important part, in school, it is important for us to ensure that students get checked regularly, that they get the right health inputs, they get the right health education, their eyes are checked, their teeth are checked. So that collaboration is very important, and some of our good schools do that. Yes.
Sir, we have a question from here, Tanvir Ahmed Sarkar sir. Sir, ask.
Good afternoon, sir. Sir, I have a question. As privatization and commercialization of education and health sector is going on rapidly, and the public being poor in our country generally cannot have access, all the public, especially in the skilled education, sir. So what measures do you suggest, sir, to be taken to address this serious issue, sir?
That is why what you are doing is so important, that it is very important that we should have public access. You see, what has happened is both in health and education, the state has withdrawn. More than 70% of our patients go to private hospitals. That cannot be the case. We have to have 70% going to public hospitals. And there is no only when the public hospitals are open for you. Similarly, more than 50% of our children are going private schools. That cannot be the case. You know, if you see the latest consumption survey that has come out last week, you know, after 11 years, you have had a All India Consumption Survey. What does it show? It shows that the single biggest item on which people are spending lesser money is education. Why is that so? Because other things have become more expensive. If you are buying petrol at 100 rupees, if you are buying $1 for 83 rupees, if you are buying food where the food inflation has gone up by 20%, then the first thing that will suffer is education. And that is what we are seeing. If education was provided by the state, if it was for free, then you would not have seen such a drop in the consumption of education. Okay. Arif, one last question, then I have to go.
Thank you, sir. One last question. I'm sorry, I got so many questions in my personal WhatsApp also. So it will request just two more questions. Two questions.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I address one question. She has written me on my personal WhatsApp. Isha Atri. She is third year
Yes.
student of BSc Cardiovascular Technology. Currently doing my internship in healthcare sector and doing part-time job. Sir, her question is, on the one side, we want more and more enrollment, it should be universalized. Enrollment,
Yes.
because आपने education में स्कूल education sector में main बात यही कही, लेकिन due to lack of financial help, kids don't go to school. For them, what is important, survival or education? Because most of the poor persons, for them, it is their economy, it is their food, shelter and clothes which comes priority rather than education. In that scenario, what to do?
Very good question. You know, you see, it often happens that that people have to drop out of school for various reasons. That is why it is important that our schools also should allow for this. They should be flexible. People should be able to enroll, should be able to exit, come back again, start picking up at any time. So that flexibility in our education system is very important. We don't have that. It is there across the world. Yes.
Thank you, sir. One last question from Dr. Wajid Saab. Last question, and I'm apologizing. I'm sorry to all the hands. I can't take more, as sir have already given us a lot of time, and I owe a big thanks, and I'm thanking you. So one last question from Dr. Wajid Kalam.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. Of course, sir, it was an enlightening session, but frankly speaking, I was expecting it should have been a bit more enlightening. So as far as this session is concerned, sir, I seldom saw any inputs, your valuable comments on the dynamics of healthcare and education sector. Sir, I hope you are getting my point.
Yes.
Sir, the health sector in India and likewise education sector also has undergone a sea change over the past few decades.
Yes.
Most importantly, in the recent past, and that too post-COVID pandemic, where we have an accelerated adoption to telemedicine, digital health solutions, integration of artificial intelligence and data analytics. But this rural-urban divide of access to healthcare system still persists. So you being an economics of highest repute in the country, I seldom see any comments on this section. You didn't touch this part, sir. If you could please touch this part, sir.
So look at this graph I'm showing. The problem is that from 2014, our expenditure on healthcare and our expenditure on education, both have been coming down. I am showing you education here. The same graph is there for them. So the huge problem is that from the very top, we do not have this understanding that education and healthcare are important. Our priorities have changed. We don't know what is it that is most important for our country. And it's a failure on part of people like us. We have been unable to show to our political leadership that more important than anything is education and health. It is important to build roads, it is important to build bridges, it is important to have new cities, new parliament, all of that. But in terms of priorities, it is health and education that we must put as number 1 and 2. That has been coming down. That is the sad aspect of India's growth, especially over the last 10 years. It should have been the other way around. Thank you very much, everybody. It has been
Thanks a
wonderful.
lot, sir. Thank you. I lastly submit my vote of thanks to you, sir, and wish you all the best for the new assignment which you are going to take from tomorrow, with the wish that you will visit Kishtwar physically, sir.
Certainly.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot, sir. It was enlightening. We are honored, sir.
All the best to all of you. Congratulations on doing a wonderful job.
Thank
Bye.
Thank you, sir.
आरिफ साहब, लाइसूम स्टडी ग्रुप की तरफ से आज जो वेबिनार कॉन्फ्रेंस हॉल यहाँ पे किया गया, तो क्या कुछ बताना चाहेंगे आप?
Thank you, Wasim Saab. Thank you, Abid Saab, and to all others who are covering this. It was the first conference of this kind. जो लाइसूम का जो स्टडी ग्रुप है सर, ये कुछ स्टूडेंट्स हैं, कुछ रिसर्च स्कॉलर्स हैं और बहुत सारे बंदे ऐसे हैं जो नॉलेज को समाज की प्रोग्रेस के लिए इस्तेमाल करना चाहते हैं। ये मैं आज उनको मुबारकबाद देता हूं कि हमारा पहला लेक्चर था और प्रोफेसर आमिरुल्लाह जैसी शख्सियत के थ्रू लेक्चर करवाना, जो बिल गेट्स जो पूरे दुनिया के रिचेस्ट पर्सन है, उनके इकोनॉमिक एडवाइज़र रह चुके हैं, स्ट्रेटजिक हेड रह चुके हैं। सो आई थिंक ऐसा कहा जाता है, वेल बिगन इज हाफ डन। सो वी हैव बिगन इन अ वेरी ऑन अ वेरी गुड हाई नोट। सेकेंडली, हम बहुत लकी हैं कि हमें एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव हेड एक थिंक टैंक की शक्ल में मिला है। ये तो ठीक है, अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव एक्यूमन, प्रोफेशनल एथिक्स बहुत होती हैं हर में, लेकिन एक थिंक टैंक बहुत हज़ारों साल नरगिस अपनी बेनूरी पे रोती रही, बड़ी मुश्किल से होता है चमन में दीदवर पैदा। सो वी आर सो थैंकफुल दैट वी हैव गॉट अ थिंक टैंक इन द फॉर्म ऑफ आवर वर्दी डिप्टी कमिश्नर किश्तवाड़, जिसने हमेशा हमें सर द लाइसूम को बुक्स, ऑलमोस्ट वी गॉट 400 बुक्स फ्रॉम आवर वर्दी डिप्टी कमिश्नर किश्तवाड़, जो हमने सब में सर्कुलेट की। और हमारा ये थिंकिंग था कि वी विल रीड एंड डिस्कस एटलीस्ट फॉर वन ईयर। तो हम 1 साल से पूरे ग्रुप में डिस्कस करते थे। हमारा लाइसूम का एक ऑफिस भी है मालीपेट वार्ड नंबर 4 किश्तवाड़ में, वहाँ बैक साइड स्वराज लाइब्रेरी थी, जो डिस्कशन रूम बाद में बन चुकी क्योंकि एडमिशन ज़्यादा आई नहीं थी, तो वी मेक इट ए डिस्कशन रूम। तो 1 साल तक वी वर डिस्कसिंग, और आफ्टर दैट जब हमें लगा कि नहीं, लेट्स मेक आवर सेल्फ विजिबल, लेट्स मेक आवर सेल्फ टू डू सम एक्टिविटीज इन द सोसाइटी आल्सो, तो हम अगेन वर्दी डिप्टी कमिश्नर साहब के पास गए, उनको रिक्वेस्ट की। और मैंने पहले अपने ये मेरे वाइस चांसलर रह चुके हैं आमिरुल्लाह साहब लोकल यूनिवर्सिटी में जहाँ मैं पढ़ाता था, मैंने इनको हैंड फोल्डेड रिक्वेस्ट की। 3 रातों से मैं इनको कंटिन्यूसली ईमेल करता रहा। तो एक रात को 3:30 बजे ईमेल का जवाब मुझे मिला कि आरिफ गो अहेड, आई विल अटेंड द लेक्चर, आई विल गिव द लेक्चर। तो उसके बाद लेकिन उन्होंने ये कहा था कि कल से नहीं दे सकते थे, कल कहीं ये पब्लिक सेक्टर ज्वाइन कर रहे हैं। तो हमने इमरजेंसी में डीसी साहब से रिक्वेस्ट की, तो उन्होंने ये लेक्चर करवाया। आई एम हाईली थैंकफुल टू वर्दी डिप्टी कमिश्नर किश्तवाड़।
क्या नेक्स्ट टाइम भी ये सेमिनार किया जाएगा?
सर वी विल अगेन, इसके बाद हम और गेट टुगेदर करेंगे, सिट टुगेदर करेंगे। पूरे किश्तवाड़ की आवाम को मैं रिक्वेस्ट करना चाहूँगा, देखिए एजुकेशन ही अवेयरनेस है, अवेयरनेस ही एनलाइटनमेंट है। जिस तरह अंबेडकर साहब ने कहा था, गेट यूनाइटेड, get enlightened and get educated. These trilogy are always in line, they are always interrelated. So तमाम सोसाइटी में हम चाहते हैं कि एजुकेशन और एनलाइटनमेंट, स्कूल एजुकेशन जैसे आमिरुल्लाह साहब ने कहा एनरोलमेंट पूरा हो, हायर एजुकेशन जैसे आमिरुल्लाह साहब ने कहा एनलाइटनमेंट की तरफ ले जाए, हमारा एनरोलमेंट 100% होगा और कॉलेज या यूनिवर्सिटीज में हम सिर्फ जॉब सीकर्स ना बने. We shall not only turn into job seekers. Job आती है, जॉब मिलती है, जॉब इज वन एस्पेक्ट ऑफ योर इंडिविजुअल्स लाइफ, लेकिन हम आइडिया सीकर्स बने. जैसे 3 इडियट में आमिर खान भी कहता है कि भैया काबिल बनने के लिए पढ़ो, नॉलेज हासिल करने के लिए पढ़ो, नौकरियां आएगी, हर हिसाब से आएगी, जाएगी भी कोई मसला नहीं है, आएगी तो अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह, लेकिन यू हैव टू लर्न. For last 300 years, the whole ideology, the whole discussions, the whole ideas are given by the West. डेमोक्रेसी पे डिबेट्स हों, तो हमारे यहाँ से भी एक डिबेट ऐसा जाना चाहिए कि वी लर्न फॉर एक्सीलेंस. मैं थोड़ा सा अगर आपका ज़्यादा टाइम लूँ, अगर वर्ल्ड लेवल की यूनिवर्सिटीज़ की रैंकिंग्स को, एक्चुअल रैंकिंग्स जो सैम्पलिंग की जाती है, जो लिटमस टेस्ट बेस्ड सैम्पलिंग होती है, उसमें अगर हम देखें तो हमारी एक ही यूनिवर्सिटी जिसका रैंक 192 के करीब आता है, JNU का नाम आता है, एंड दैट इज इतने बड़े. और टॉप मोस्ट कैम्ब्रिज, ऑक्सफोर्ड, कहीं हम टॉप 10 में कहीं नहीं है. क्यों? बिकॉज आवर ओवरऑल एम्फेसिस इज टुवर्ड्स मेक यू एम्प्लॉयबल, जॉब सीकर, बट देयर इज रिसर्च. दे डू रिसर्च फ्रॉम 11th. उनको बुक रिव्यूज, एडमिशन के लिए बुक रिव्यूज करने पड़ते हैं 11th में. तो यस, लाइस्यूम कोशिश करेगा. वी आर नॉट हैविंग एनी रिसोर्सेज बट वी आर हैविंग इंटेंशंस.
थैंक यू.
थैंक यू.